Hi.
Welcome back to my podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be
that
here.
you named.
Lovely hair. Looks
Thank
so
you. Matching my baby girl.
Yeah.
This is season 3 of
Wow.
Who's Your Amma.
Wow.
I feel like we don't have like a set number of episodes for the season.
Yeah.
Because we just keep disappearing and coming back and disappearing and stuff. But welcome to season 3.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Excited to chat and
Uh-huh.
excited for what's to come.
Before we get into what's to come, which is kind of obvious if you're watching the video, what is your rose and thorn for the week? Let me go first.
Sure.
Actually, you go first because I need to think. So let me take ideas from you.
Rose and thorn. I'll start with my thorn because it's fresh in my mind. So car trouble.
Oh,
Man, basically hit a pothole about a week or 2 weeks back really hard. Had a puncture, got that fixed. Didn't realize the back tire was also affected and something on the suspension actually broke and we needed to fix that. So unfortunate
and expensive.
and expensive.
Because not so long ago, we also changed 2 tires, which was also very expensive.
Yeah.
And your rose, Ollie is snoring here.
My rose for the week would be cuddling with my girls in bed this morning.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. My rose for the week is... It's going to sound so silly after yours.
Why?
Trevino introduced me to Seattle coffee. It's my first time that I had Seattle.
Been telling you about
So
Seattle.
I had a butterscotch latte.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite thing now. So that's my rose.
You also did taste their spicy chai.
Oh, the chai was good. And then my thorn for the week, I would say, is that... I would just say it's the fact that I didn't go to the gym.
Okay.
And you forcing me to go to the gym has been something good.
Yeah. This week was a bit difficult routine-wise. There was a lot going on and I think I also made it just twice. Yeah.
I made it just 0 times this week.
Okay.
Oh, another rose is it was my birthday.
Yeah. We'll have to get in some other cardio.
You know, my mother watches this podcast. How do you think we got here? So, the obvious is I'm pregnant. I am pregnant and we're actually announcing a lot earlier this time than we did with Talia.
Yeah, we are.
I think it's because I'm a lot bigger this time around and it's getting harder to hide.
Yeah.
And if you watch my YouTube vlogs, I'm always out of breath. And it's just a little bit harder to hide this time around because I am.
But what a journey. What a blessing.
A journey.
Mm.
Do you want to... Should I give like some context about the journey?
You can.
So if you guys know me, you know I like sentimental things. And I think one of the things that I am still struggling with this pregnancy is that I want to do everything the same for this baby that we did for Talia. And
snoring, by the way.
It is a bit difficult because with Talia, I didn't have a toddler.
Yeah.
So I had free time to do everything that I wanted to do. Whereas with this baby, I have a toddler, so I don't have as much time to do what I wanted to do.
I mean, we're grateful for the help we have, but still there's a lot more. And things are just a bit more demanding now with Talia. Because it's like you have a routine, you do your best to have all these things. But with a baby, you never know. She's going to need us. And we just have to be available.
So one of the things was because I am a sentimental person, but I would say sometimes it can be borderline silly and unrealistic. So because Talia was made in Spain, I really wanted the same thing for this baby. So, and you know, it's so strange. When you are younger, they always tell you, or they make it seem like the first time you're going to have sex, you're going to fall pregnant. And that's how it happened with... That's how it happened with Talia. The first time we tried for a baby.
Please elaborate.
That was the first time we had sex. What do you mean? We've only had sex twice in our lives. Come on. My parents watch this. So the first time we tried for Talia, we conceived immediately. Whereas with this baby, it took like 2 or 3 months and it was a bit of a hard journey for me personally. And then Trevino came in like on month 3 and he's like, okay, let's pray together. And it was a little bit frustrating for me because I've been praying the whole time, but I guess 2 or more are gathered in his name.
Just unity.
I think also agreement.
Yeah, but I think also I could see the strain that you were taking.
Yeah.
And generally, it's a thing of like, I'm always like, it'll be okay, things will be fine. But it did hurt seeing you like, you know, like we were trying hard. Everything was right from a timing point of view, from tracking the period calendar to doing all of that stuff. Like we did the best we could and we did basically everything right. But it happened when it happened. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is, we spoke to a few people, and a lot of them did mention the second time around did take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful it happened. And
Yeah.
I think the less pressure you put on yourself, the better. And you get to a place of like, okay, cool. It happens when it happens.
Yeah. And also the one thing that you and I both believe is that everything happens when God wants something to happen.
Definitely.
So that's just what I'm grateful for. That even though I wanted it in my own timeline, it happened in God's timeline, which is way better than my timeline.
Yeah.
The one thing that was different though is the month that we fell pregnant. And I don't know if this has like a direct correlation or anything, but the month that I fell pregnant is the month I stopped breastfeeding.
Wow.
But I also know that I was fertile because I was getting my period. So some people say like, you don't get your period. I know I have a friend who didn't get her period the whole year and a half that she breastfed. Whereas I got mine when Talia was 4 months old. So yeah, I don't know if that played a part in it, but yeah, I fell pregnant and it was hard in the beginning to hide it from our friends because they knew the plan was that I wanted to fall pregnant.
Yeah, and on that, you had spoken about having 2 under 2. And at the time, if I'm being honest, it sounded a little bit insane, and not so much insane as opposed to too quick rather. And I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But the more I thought on it, I'm like, this really does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because my brother and I have 4-year age gap, and that's a good age gap. And to have like even a 2-year age gap, like the kids grow up close.
Yeah.
And it was so practical in the sense of a lot of big things that we need to buy. We have
still
already
have.
like a cot, a pram, a whole lot of other things,
Yeah.
car seats that we can just use again.
Yes.
It made a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think also when some people look from the outside in now, they're like, that's so quick.
Yeah.
But when you look at siblings who are adults and they're 2 years apart, you
Oh,
don't
that's
think,
normal.
yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
But now
Oh,
because
that's a good age.
exactly. But now because Talia is young, people are like, that was quick, but no, it's fine. Everything is fine.
And
We're
I
all
think
fine.
I also love the fact that we knew ideally in God's will the type of family we wanted to have. So 4 and 5 with Ollie. But the thing of like, you start now, it's a good age. And I feel like, okay, once we have the 2 kids, now we can get a whole lot of other things back on track or give focus to other things once we give the kids, because now they would need all our focus, love, attention, all of that stuff, rather than for us personally starting at 35 or starting at 36.
Yeah. And even, sorry, I just want to go back to what I was saying about our friends.
Yeah.
I did have to lie a couple of times.
They knew.
Because Robin, who was on the last episode of this podcast, asked me one day but I also like after church I was sitting
She'd
there
be like napping on the couch.
sleeping, and then I'm like, I feel like having steak. And then Robin just looked at me, she's like, are you pregnant? And I said, no, I had my period last week. Meanwhile, I was pregnant. But it was fun to announce to them. I think everybody's reactions and I filmed
we did get it on video. Yeah,
it was very special.
Sorry, I think Ollie's hair is on my nose and it. I feel like I need to sneeze.
It was very special announcing to our family also. So what we did with a lot of people and even people who don't live nearby, we gave Talia the scan and we let her show that to people. And one of the funniest reactions was from his brother, who's like, that's her scan, right? Like, no, Manny, it's happening again.
I just love that Talia's been on board the whole time. Talia is an amazing big sister.
Yeah,
she's so aware of what's happening.
She
gives baby kisses.
So she thinks the baby is my belly button because she only wants to kiss the baby.
And she thinks she can only see baby if you show her your belly button. And she's like, kiss baby more.
Yeah, more baby.
More baby.
What are some of the things that we've been doing to prepare Talia? We've been telling her that she's going to be a big sister. We've been letting her kiss the belly. I think she's at an age where she kind of understands, but she's also not like fully there yet.
Yeah.
So, but I think one of the things that I do want to do is when I give birth, I don't know if the rules at the hospital have changed, but I'd like for Talia to spend some time with me and baby before other people.
That would be good.
So without my parents, without visitors.
And I think also just being the type of parents that are sensitive and aware, because sometimes it happens where maybe, I know it's still early days, but the firstborn feels neglected or people say they fight for attention or they do crazy things like hitting baby or chasing baby or shouting at baby. And I think it's important to, and again, this is something we're newly navigating, but in my mind, it makes sense to give extra attention, extra care to Talia, and like explain her and guide her through the process and like love on her and include her as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that it's natural for her as well.
I saw a video on TikTok where the dad brought the older child in, and it wasn't immediately, here's your sibling.
Yeah.
It was the oldest, I think it was a boy, the older son sat with the mom gave him love, and then when he was like comfortable with his mom, the dad said, look, this is your baby sister.
Wow.
And it wasn't like, this is the baby. It was, it was a gradual thing. Like, spend time with the older child like you used to in that moment of when they first meet.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things for me is I want Talia to sleep in her own room, but I don't want to do it when the baby comes home.
Yeah,
I
that
want
makes
her to
sense.
start doing it from now so she doesn't feel like we chased her out of our room. But also at the same time, we also are considering keeping her in our room, in our bed.
Yeah. We actually spoke about it. We're like, maybe we need a bigger bed.
Yeah.
And then we'll have cots on either side.
Yeah.
But from a routine point of view, like,
The only thing is I don't
Yeah.
want them to wake each other up.
and baby girl just got into such a good routine with
Yeah.
sleeping, and she naps through the nights and things are
Yeah.
good. So maybe we'll try.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We do have some time.
What differences and similarities can you see with this pregnancy? And then I'll
I
tell you.
feel I feel they're very different. Eh?
Really?
I don't think they're similar at all in terms of like, a lot of things. I just feel they're very different.
So one of the differences that from the very beginning.
Can I just throw something in there?
Yeah,
I feel like with Talia, you were way, way, way more chilled.
definitely. 100%.
You weren't gonna fight me on that one.
No, but I do feel like with Talia, when I was pregnant with Talia, it was just me.
This makes sense.
Now I
This
have
does make
Talia.
sense. Yeah.
And it's a little bit harder to navigate life. So I do get frustrated a lot easier. I get frustrated with this whole pregnancy. My two enemies have been Trevino and Ollie. Like, I don't go a day without shouting at one of them. Most of the time it's Ollie, shame, but he's sitting by me now.
Poor Ollie.
But I don't know, Trevino and I just haven't really been seeing eye to eye on a lot of things this pregnancy.
It's been better though. It's been a lot better.
I think the first trimester was
The
wild.
first trimester, I think, was not wild. It was,
Well, it wasn't me.
yeah.
But also, I don't think I overreacted or like
no.
made things up. They were actual
No,
frustrations.
there
They were
things.
real things.
I think it was.
But
it
I
was,
was just
it was
a lot.
basically how you would react and respond to frustrating things that would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I
it makes
wasn't
sense.
making things up.
No,
It was just I
not at
was
all.
very frustrated.
There were legit things happening,
Yeah.
and it was just. I'm like, oh, okay, wow.
Sort yourself out then. I'm joking. One of the differences from the beginning was with Talia, I couldn't stand the smell of meat.
Yeah.
With this baby, all I want
love
is meat.
meat.
And not chicken. I want
I'm not
red
complaining.
meat. I want steak. I want burgers. I want
You've
that's
been
all I
loving
want.
coffee more, actually.
It's because of the Seattle nonsense that you've introduced me to. Something else that I would say is very different, which doesn't really make sense to me, and the gynae said it's normal, is that I have a lot more cramps and a lot more pains.
Okay.
Like it feels like intense period pain.
You've been saying.
And the gynae did say it's normal, but to me, I feel like you should have more pain in your first pregnancy because it's something your body is getting used to, not in your second pregnancy. But then I'm also like, I'm 2 years older now, and maybe in numbers that doesn't feel like a lot, but in my body it probably is
Sure.
a difference. So
That's a
maybe
good
that's
point.
why I feel
Out of
so
10,
different.
what would you say the pain level's like?
It depends. Like if like that day, if I have a very stressful day, then it's bad where I went to the hospital and stuff. It was a bad day. But other than that, I would say like it's a manageable 7 or 8 when it's a
Okay.
bad cramp. The back pains have not been nice. I've been using a hot water bottle this week.
Yeah.
Heartburn. I have heartburn
A
now.
lot more heartburn, I think, than the first time.
But that could also be age. Because remember, even when I wasn't pregnant with Talia,
I literally only started getting heartburn last year.
when I turned 30, me too, last year. That's what I'm saying. For my birthday, when I turned
Strange.
30, I wasn't pregnant, but I had
Just
heartburn.
chowing a pie and you're like,
No, but pie has a lot of fat. And
what is this?
stuff.
But it never happened before.
What other the similarities? And I'm so grateful. Praise God, it has been on my prayer list because this is not something that I enjoy. I don't think anyone enjoys it. I haven't had morning sickness. I have thrown up twice, but that's because I was in a very stressful situation. And when I went to the hospital because I had cramps, And Trevino told the doctor that I even threw up. And she's like, yeah, for you, that's stress because I don't throw up. I think I was traumatized from my young days of drinking and throwing up that I can't do that now. I can't.
Yeah.
But that's been something that's been consistent. I haven't had morning sickness, which I'm very
You
grateful
happy
for.
about that?
Very, very grateful for. What other similarities? I don't think I'm as tired, like sleepy tired, as sleepy as I was with Talia, but I am more physically tired. But again, it's because I have a toddler.
Just thought of a difference, not a similarity. This pregnancy, you've been crying a lot more.
Crying?
Crying. A lot more.
Really?
A lot more. Like, yeah,
Is it
you
because
have.
I'm frustrated?
No, like happy crying.
Oh, because
Angry crying. Sad crying. Watching a movie crying. Like, you've. Yeah, this
But
this
don't you
was
think
not
I
normal.
cry in general a lot? Even outside
This
of
is that-
pregnancy? Really?
And a lot more you have, yeah.
I don't think
know.
I cry a lot.
I don't know.
When last did I even cry?
You're just very emotional this pregnancy.
MXM. MXM. Is there anything different or the same that we'll be doing as parents during pregnancy or birth or recovery or raising the baby? One thing that's on the top of my head is I'm going to eat in the hospital because I think that's why I kind of like blanked out that one day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't eat when I came
With
out of
all the
theater.
meds, you've got to eat, definitely.
I didn't eat. So I think I'm going to eat. That's definitely one thing that I'm going to do different. And another thing that I can think of is I don't think we're going to do sleep training.
Yeah.
I think paying that sleep coach was a waste of money.
I think, we definitely took some good learnings from it, but our own path, our own journey, we learned that Talia was going to do it on her own terms.
On her own time,
and we just needed to support and help. But also, the reason we needed the sleep coach is because we didn't do things not right, but we could have done things better in the beginning, and that's what I want to get right with baby in terms of
Don't say we.
getting.
Don't say
We.
Don't
I
say
say what I
we.
say. We.
So tell me, if your wife just got sliced and she's lying on the bed in the hospital, is your wife walking around making the baby sleep? Shh, shh, shh.
It was cute in the moment,
And then look what happened.
I did it more because that's how she would fall asleep.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
And it was our firstborn.
It was our firstborn, and it's
that
cute.
did cause other problems where she would be so dependent on it and only fall asleep on my shoulder. And if I would pace up and down.
Yeah.
So now I think if we put those better habits into practice a lot earlier,
From the beginning.
it would work. Yeah.
I remember even when you went back to work after paternity leave, I was crying because and at that point we didn't have a nanny. It was just me alone with her.
Yeah.
I was crying because I didn't know if I would be able to make her sleep.
Yeah.
And I was panicking because that was something that you'd do. So, excuse me, pregnancy. So yeah, that is.
I can definitely give you another similarity that's come to mind. You have still been the on point, organized, and sharp person you are.
Praise God.
No pregnancy brain from my
Praise
wife.
God.
So you've really been on point,
I
and
do
I
use
appreciate
that as an
that.
excuse though. When
I really appreciate that you've carried a lot in terms of planning, organizing, which you usually do. So I love you and I appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I do milk it though. Like if somebody asks me a question or if they ask me to do something, I'm like, I'm pregnant, leave me alone. Something happened on Sunday at church and someone said something. I'm like, I'm pregnant, guys, just let me live.
And you've been pushing, I mean, with work, with business, with you, like we know you wear a lot of hats. You've still been very consistent in all of that. And you've still gone over and above to create and get new jobs and do other things, which have been really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. So the one thing that we have been quite firm on with Talia that I think we'll continue doing this time. Well, stop looking at Gilda and smiling. Is that the boundaries that we've set is something that we'll still keep.
Definitely.
And a lot of people have said that you say that now, but when the baby comes, things will change. And it hasn't really changed. There's been things that we've said, like, for example, when Talia sleeps, Talia is sleeping. No one's picking her up. It doesn't matter if you're a
get into the
visitor.
routine.
Yeah. If you're a visitor from freaking France or wherever, if Talia is sleeping, she's sleeping.
Who stays in France?
I don't know. That's what I just said. What are some of the other things that we've said with Talia? I don't know, but there are like boundaries that I think we've created.
I think also I do feel like going into the second one, things are going to be a lot more chilled because we know what to expect. With your first one, it's wild. Your first one's your first one. I think right now, and Talia showing us flames with certain things. Like we were those parents, like everything that falls, we pick it up, we wash
and now
it.
We just like do whatever you need to do.
Do you?
It'll build her immune system.
Yeah, exactly. So
The
we tell
one
ourselves,
specific thing that she loves to do is
oh,
Ollie's water bowl.
guys, like we'd be standing on the other end of the house. She gets to Ollie's water bowl, dips her fingers in, and wants to put it in her mouth.
But the thing is, she looks at us when she's doing something
And
naughty.
she smiles.
And she
She gives us
smiles
a
and she
smile.
does
It's
it. And you're just
crazy.
like, do you, boo? Do you? Is there anything else that you can think of that we'll be doing the same during pregnancy, birth, recovery?
I think
the one
go
thing
for
is,
it.
I do want my granny to come back and stay with us because she really helped in terms of cooking and, like the old people have this is what you must eat for this is what you mustn't eat for that. And actually,
chows.
yeah, we were for the chows. We were talking to the gynae about it, and we were saying my granny said you mustn't have this because it'll make your stitches itch or whatever. And she's like, kind of true, but kind of not. So apparently you can't have like tomato acidic stuff, not because it'll make your stitches itch, but because it affects the breast milk.
Yeah, there's
That's
a
what
few
she
things.
said.
So
Yeah.
she did say. I think on the point of what would we do the same, I think you've been very consistent, maybe like to an extent of saying, we've done all these things for Talia and you want to be fair and do the same for the next Baba. But I think I did remember telling you that also we need to take a deep breath, take a step back, and we shouldn't compare everything to every single thing that we've done because Talia is our firstborn. I know it's hard, but also like you shouldn't put that kind of pressure on yourself to say now with the second baby, I need to do A, B, C, D. If I don't, it doesn't mean I'm like not a good enough parent or that I'm being unfair to my child.
I just feel bad.
No, but that's
for
what
the
we spoke
child.
about. But that's what we spoke about. So like if there's things we've done where like monthly updates or videos, that's something that we're definitely going to do.
Yeah, no, we like
so those kind of things.
Those are the things that I'm talking about. Like you can't, like the journal, for example. I journaled Talia's whole pregnancy, and that's something that she'll have.
And you journal for the second one, but it's just not the same.
I know, but I don't want this baby to have a book that's like this big, and Talia has a thick stack of memories.
Your firstborn will always be your
No,
firstborn.
but that's not fair. I feel like that's not fair. Like imagine as a child, you see what your sibling has, and then you have like one page from the whole 9 months. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kumo also told me like, don't put that type of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Don't put
Because
that pressure on yourself.
At the same time, they are different. They are different people.
And to that point, there'll be certain things that we're going to do with second Baba that we wouldn't have done with Talia.
Yeah, true. That's true. How does it feel to know that we'll be parents of two soon?
It feels surreal. I'm excited. It really does feel surreal. It's a blessing to know that our family like is expanding, and I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm not under any false pretense like what is going to be time wise and the commitment and those things, but I think we're ready for it and we're going to be good. And I just have this beautiful vision of us walking like with our two babies and Ollie. And yeah, it's going to be good times. Yeah. Really going to be good times. And I'm excited. I do also feel like we're young to have two kids, and it's weird. I feel like we're young to have
31.
two kids.
I'm old now.
Wow, you just
I'm going to
turned
retire. For me, I feel like
I do feel we're ready though.
I haven't really been living in the moment, which is something that I do very often. I don't know. I feel a little bit bad because your second pregnancy is not like your first pregnancy.
Yeah.
I feel like no one really cares as much. Like it's a little bit isolating and alone.
Sure.
But also I feel like I haven't really paid that much attention to this baby, which is strange, like if someone's not pregnant. But I feel like when I was pregnant with Talia, everything was about my belly and baby. Now I'm like I have an actual baby here.
Yeah,
so this baby is not.
But also I do think it's where in the pregnancy stages you are, because as your belly gets a lot bigger and as baby starts moving, then it's more. Because sometimes I get what you mean where like we're not lose focus, but it's not at the forefront of our minds.
Yeah.
But I think it does change as we get to maybe last trimester and so on.
We'll see. For me, I'm like, we'll see when the day comes, how it goes. Like having two babies.
And for second Baba, the name that we were thinking about is...
No, we were not thinking of that name. Trevino wants to name this baby a specific name, and I disagree with that name.
A specific second name.
I disagree.
I think everybody will agree with me on
I disagree. We'll discuss this offline. I disagree. Okay. Any closing statements? This was a short
I want to
podcast.
take a vote.
No. Then everyone's going to know the gender. In the next episode, we're talking about the gender. Now we're not.
Okay.
I'll
hold it.
Any final thoughts, closing thoughts? I feel like this is a short podcast, but it's fine.
But this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Life update. Obviously, my number one guest. I think you have been here the most.
Have I? No.
Yeah, we did the first episode, Talia's birth story, and now this one. Number 3.
Really proud of the podcast. Shout out to producer Joseph,
Brother Punk.
and all our guests and everybody that comes through, and you, because I think
Thank
this
you.
podcast really has grown
I love doing
tremendously.
this podcast. I just needed to start
It's a
making
fun
me money
watch.
now.
It's a fun watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else to say?
Love you long time, Celabellas.
If you're listening on Spotify, please rate this podcast.
Or Apple Music.
Apple
Podcasts.
Podcasts. Can you rate on Apple Podcasts?
I think you can.
No, you can't. He said he doesn't know. But on Spotify, you can. Yeah, share this podcast with someone you know. And thanks for watching.
Baby mom of 2.
Mm-hmm.